So before I start, this video assumes that you have at least decent knowledge on the FNAF series up to and including Ultimate Custom Night and a few stories from FastBev Rights, and that you are knowledgeable of what theorists currently believe in regards to the early games. I also go into this assuming that Scott Cawthon does not do things on a whim, especially not after FNAF 4, and that all details should be examined if they're in the games. It's been essentially confirmed time and time again that FNAF Ultimate Custom Night is canon through it being William Afton's hell constructed by the one he should not have killed, through both the books which draw parallel in The Man in Room 1280, and through multiple voice lines that accuse the player of killing the children of the MCI. Now, in UCN, as a special character only spawned in 5020 mode, is Lolbit, a throwaway joke character that has only appeared in FNAF World and Sister Location Custom Night, which are both questionably canon in terms of their events. I believe that while the events of Sister Location Custom Night are one-to-one canon, the animatronics present are present within the Sister Location bunker, as they also appear as very rare Easter eggs throughout the main game. If we assume that these are not flourishes put in by the in-universe game dev that was retconned in, and is instead an Easter egg that points towards more lore similar to the Night Marion plushes and Security Breach, that means that Lolbit, Bonnet, and particularly Yenndo are canon. This of course relies on how you interpret the events of Sister Location and UCN, but it always seemed weird to me that the custom nights themselves can be considered not canon and yet lore taken from them is canon, such as the Mike Purple Guy cutscenes or the Psychic Friend Fredbear plush holding a remote. It's kind of bullshit, but whatever. If we treat it consistently, I think that the custom night gameplay may be canon in the way that it is someone's job to watch the cameras, as implied in the Fazbear Fright story Room for One More, where a security guard is watching the cameras in the bunker and is forced to swallow mini-renas while he sleeps, which can be considered as one of the times they escaped and was caught according to Baby, even if the exact events aren't canon.
I've been out before, but they always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go when we look like this.
This allows the security office and the gameplay of the custom night to be canon, as there are no characters that explicitly cannot overlap due to the absence of Ennard. This fixes the issue of Lolbit and Yenndo only appearing consistently to custom night, if you believe that the vengeful spirit is taking the animatronics' appearances from the agony or remnant of those William caused harm to, or caused the death of in horrific ways. Now that I've argued for their canonicity, I can talk about the significance of Yenndo. Golden Freddy and Yenndo appear to be the same character, Yenndo seeming to be the endoskeleton of Golden Freddy, following the same naming convention as the Golden Freddy file from FNAF 1, Yellow Bear to Yellow Endo. This can give more credence to the split soul theory if the souls are split between Golden Freddy's suit and Yenndo, implying a similar dynamic to the Stitch Wraith, where one controls the movement and one can control something else, such as communication, as Golden Freddy says it's me to Mike and yet Yenndo doesn't, implying that the Golden Freddy suit is possessed by Dave/CC and Yenndo is possessed by another spirit, possibly the Vengeful Spirit, if it is different. I also believe that this is further evidence that the empty suit that Mike is stuffed into on Night 4 is Golden Freddy, as by that point William had transferred all of the evidence of his crimes into the bunker, either making the Phantom animatronics out of spare parts or melting down the original animatronics and injecting their metal remnant into the fun times. Now this would imply that he would do the same to Golden Freddy, but I would doubt that a father who is killed for the express purpose of trying to bring his son back would melt him down and mush him together with the other ones, which he did not care for. I think it's more likely for William to know that his son is in Golden Freddy and try to give him the same freedom of movement that Baby and Ballora have, considering they are either possessed by or represent his daughter and wife respectively. There are 3 lingering issues that I can think of with this theory, but I believe there are ways to address them that have been considered before or can be implied through other evidence. Issue 1 is that Yenndo does not fit in with the original endoskeletons from FNAF 1 and doesn't seem to be the same as the Springtrap endoskeleton, which should be similar due to them both being Springlock suits. But I believe that William may not have those endoskeletons at hand by the time he's trying to animate Dave, or that he uses the same model endoskeleton as the Fun Times to imbue it with the remnant from the Molten MCI, in order to give Golden Freddy some structure that has a mind of its own and can puppeteer his son around, similar to how the Stitch Wraith works in the Fazbear Fright Stingers. Issue 2 is, how is the Vengeful Spirit even inside Yenndo? I believe that this can be cleared up in one of 2 ways. Either we are on the wrong track considering the Golden Freddy 2 spirit thing, which is a theory I honestly never liked, and only Dave is in Golden Freddy, or Yenndo was an experiment by William to give more freedom of movement to Dave inside Golden Freddy, but Yendo's spirit or collection of spirits refused to stay inside the suit and roamed the bunker alone when William wasn't there. Issue 3 is that this begs the question on how the spirits of both Dave and Yenndo get to be in the FNAF 6 fire decades later, and I believe that this is simply due to Yenndo not having an extremely obvious feature besides his eyes, and how easily a mess of wires can be caught up in Morton Freddy / the Blob, which seems to be the remaining agony of the animatronics with how big and messy it is by the time of Ruin especially. The way that Dave would be present is the theory that is basically considered canon by now, by Stormester, which points out that the new parts on the Scrapchat model in FNAF 6 seem to be taken from Golden Freddy, and small differences could be attributed to decades passing since we last saw the suit before that. If there is some evidence that I'm missing that could prove any of these points wrong, I'd love to see them, as this is more of a thought exercise that I went through after considering how Yenndo has the same mechanic as Golden Freddy, and yet is never brought up despite being implied to exist through Easter eggs and Lobbit and Bonnet's appearance in UCN. Please tell me about any oversights. Bye.